Hello and happy Wednesday. So, this is something new that I thought I'd try this week, and you'll have to let me know what you think. However, considering how many times I've had to start and restart this video, I don't know if I'll have time to do this every week, but you'll have to let me know if you like it. So, basically, this is the same thing I've written out, just me talking about it. I've been pondering a lot this last week about what I wrote last week. Specifically about the role that complex emotions play in our spiritual growth. My experiences in my life have brought me to believe that working through the complexities of sorrow and grief is just something that's going to be an ongoing challenge in this mortal existence because we live in a fallen world. However, I'm also learning that deep and abiding peace and great joy are also emotions that can be ongoing because of the grace of God. And through the experiences that bring all of these emotions, we can really experience an amazing transformation of faith and of trust as we let God walk with us through it all. And don't try to do it alone. We've never been asked to do it alone. So there's this podcast that I enjoy listening to called Leading Saints. The episode I listened to this last week is called Allowing Our Pain to Turn Us to Christ. It's an interview with a woman named Joy McCullough, who is a Protestant evangelical with a background in professional counseling. She has a lot of amazing things to say. She's the wife of a pastor named Jeff McCullough, who is the creator of a YouTube channel called Hello Saints. Anyway, it's a great podcast episode, and there's a lot more important and pertinent things that were said than what I going to be able to touch on here. So I encourage you to go find that podcast, listen to it. I think you'll find that it's time well spent. One of the things that Joy said that just really resonated with me is if we don't know sorrow, we don't know God. If we haven't experienced grief, we haven't experienced what God knows and what God is well acquainted with. When she said that, my brain just jumped on that. And I thought, why is it? Why is that true? If we don't know sorrow, we don't know, or if we don't know sorrow, we don't know God. And for me personally, I know that through experiences that have brought sorrow in my life, that is how I've turned to God and helped create this relationship that I have with him. But I also think that we can understand and know God better when we experience similar things as to what he's experienced. So that's like a whole nother thing to think about. Um, she explains that even with grace in our lives, we're not going to have a pain-free life. We can experience grace, but we're also going to have to continue to experience grief and sorrow. And as we find ourselves wounded and broken because of what mortality presents us, allowing that pain to lead us to Jesus is what brings strength and healing and comfort and peace and even joy. So I've pondered this week how even though I've worked through hard things before and I've gained wisdom and I've developed a strong relationship with my Savior, and I felt all those good things, the healing, the strength, the comfort, peace, and the joy, I continue to find myself faced with things that cause me to work through it again and again, over and over, right? I want to believe that once I've done it once or twice or a dozen times or whatever, I should be good, right? And I shouldn't have to struggle through it all again. And and I mentioned last week that it does become something that as I go into the struggle, I think, you know what, I don't have to do this. I know that it's going to be okay. I know that God has a plan and it's a really good plan. And I try to circumvent the struggle and just jump straight to that faith. But I think that also to do that means that I'm missing out on more growth and deeper transformation that can happen. I think there are times definitely when the struggle is easier and the recovery time can be shorter. But I think a lot like building muscle, the effort still has to go into the process. What if every time you thought, I'm going to go to the gym and work out and get stronger, and then you think, oh, I've already been to the gym before. I've already worked out and I already became stronger. I don't have to do that again. The thought is silly, right? And I think that building our faith is the same. We have to be willing to continue to go through that struggle and put forth the effort to build that faith and to build that relationship with our Savior over and over. And eventually, if you never went to the gym again, well, I'll probably never go to the gym again. But if you never did the physical effort of whatever, eventually the muscle is going to start to get weaker and weaker. It won't stay the same. And although I'm not an athlete, I am a musician. And I know that the longer the time that goes between me practicing my violin, the the more difficult it is to keep my skills even at a certain level. I might not be getting any better, but it's getting harder and harder to stay at that same level, and my skills start to decline. And I think that exercising our faith is the same. We have to continue to exercise it. We have to keep working at it, putting forth that effort so that our faith will continue to be strengthened. And to think that it's staying stagnant, I think is incorrect. It's a lie that the enemy wants us to believe that we can keep our faith where it is and be okay. So this past weekend, I spent some time in the Payson Temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I had some time in the main lobby there, and I was looking at a painting that depicts the scene where Jesus is holding Martha and Mary, and he's crying with them. And I'm thinking, this is literally right before he's going to go to the tomb of Lazarus, call him forth from the grave, and restore his life. So why was he crying? Was he crying because he was just um, showing a display of compassion? Was it that he wanted to show Martha and Mary that he was there with them, to mourn with them, that he'd be there to support them? I mean, think about it. All that Jesus knew, he'd performed miracles. He's literally about to perform another miracle. All that he knew. Why could why couldn't he just be like, "Hey, it's okay. Life is good. Life is going to be restored and we're going to be okay. Just trust in me." But he didn't. He cried. And I like to think that knowing even what he knew, being even who he was or is, he also felt the sorrow of mortality, of humanity. And his emotions did not invalidate what he knew or who he was. And then the thought came to me, struggling, feeling the sorrow, falling apart, being sad, crying, all of these things are okay. It doesn't invalidate who I am. It doesn't invalidate what I know. And I hope that you can also recognize that. It's okay to have the struggle. And in fact, we need that struggle. We need to be able to struggle through that and turn to our Savior and allow Him to strengthen us, allow Him to build that faith muscle. And over, as many times as it takes, until we don't have to anymore. Well, I hope this helps you. It's great to talk about it. Anybody who wants to talk offline about it, just let me know. These are things I love to talk about as often as possible. I hope you guys have a great week, and let me know if you think I should continue the videos or not. See you later.